Almost set up here. Can you hear me okay? I just want to make sure my audio sounds good. If not, if you want to let me know if my audio is not working for some reason, it should be fine. But welcome to our first session for our Spring 2026 pre-arrival series. Today is going to be very much about how to request your I-20 if you haven't done so already. We'll also look at our I-20 deadlines. And the second thing we're going to do is talk about what a visa interview looks like and what you might want to prepare, what kind of questions to look out for, and any other changes that might have occurred over the last couple of months that can help you get prepared for your interview. If you don't know me yet, my name is PJ Gurung. I am the Assistant Director for Strategic Communications and Recruitment here at the KIC. I am also a previous international student, um, and I did both of my undergraduate and graduate degree at Minnesota State University Mankato. So I've kind of been at this university for quite some time. I was born and raised in Nepal, and I came to the United States in 2016. So I've been here for a while. But that aside, today we're going to talk about how to request your I-20 and a visa prep session that's going to be very brief. I will also talk to you guys about other visa prep sessions that we do that's with our current international students that's also free of cost. So that's definitely something that you could look at as well. So right before we get started, I am going to quickly share my screen, and then if you guys want to let me know if my screen looks okay or if there's something I need to change, please let me know. I know that my screen sometimes it just doesn't look right, so I would really appreciate your help. Alrighty. So once you have been admitted to our university, you will receive an email from us that says congratulations. And then after that, you have to go ahead and activate your MavMail. Your MavMail is your student account, so your student email account that you would have to activate. Once you've activated that and you are in your student email, you'll receive a link from us that is a link that's going to take you to our KIC International portal, and that is where you would request your I-20. A few things about the MAV mail that I do want to let you know is if you haven't set it up yet, please set it up using the Authenticator app. So our MAV mail basically requires multi-factor authentication, which means there's like a two-step verification, and that's for security reasons. We just want to make sure your account is secure. So when you are setting up your MavMail, we highly, highly, highly encourage you to use your multi-factor authenticator app and not your school phone number, not your personal phone number, only because if you've set it up with your phone number and then you come to the United States, you will not have access to that personal phone number. And so you might have difficulty getting into your student email or your MAV mail. So we highly encourage you to use your multi-factor authenticator just for your ease. And so you don't have any complications when you're here. Once you're in your email, once you're in your MAV mail, you'll receive an email from us that's basically your I-20 request link. And that is what is going to bring you to the page that I am in right now. Can you see my screen okay? I just want to double check. Tanvir, do you want to give me a thumbs up if it looks okay? Or if you just want to let me know that it looks okay. Okay, perfect. So this is what your I-20 request link is going to look like. Tanvir, if you already have your I-20, please also let me know. But this is what the I-20 request link is going to look like. You're going to log in with your star ID and password, just like you do with your e-services, and it's going to bring you right here. The biggest things to remember when it comes to your I-20 request is the I-20 deadlines. This is very important if you are outside the US currently and are going to be applying for your F1 visa. Your spring Yes, I-20 deadline is going to be October 1st. So it's very important that you submit all of your documents and have that I-20 request in before October 1st. If Again, this is a very strict deadline. We also do have a pretty quick turnaround when it comes to receiving your I-20, but in order for us to give you your I-20, you need to make sure that you have sent in your documents completely. So this website is going to be very useful because it has all of the necessary information that we need. The biggest thing is preparing your bank statements and financial sponsor letter. There's a template that we provide for the financial sponsor letter, and that's what your sponsor would fill out and sign, and that's what you're going to just upload on here. After you prepare all of your documents, you're going to confirm all of the information and then submit the I-20 request in tab 5. So you can slowly kind of go through this together. And then once we're done with this portion of it, we can start talking about your visa interview. If you have a visa interview coming up, please let me know what date it might be. Mishak, welcome in. It's a very small crowd today, so if you guys have more questions for me, please let me know in the chat. I have enabled our chat today. So if you guys, both of you, if you have any questions, please let me know. But anyway, this is what is going to happen. When you go to tab 2, you'll get more information about what your Form I-20 is. And your Form I-20 is a US government approved certificate, like an institutional, basically certifying that you are admitted to work study full-time at our university and have demonstrated financial resources. Your I-20 is what you are going to take to your interview as well. So it's a very important piece of document that you need to make sure you print it, and also remember to date and sign it. When you print it out, you'll see there's a little portion at the bottom to sign it. It's before you go to your interview, just make sure it's signed and dated as well. So once you have your Form I-20, there's a CVIS ID number as well that you're going to want to remember. If you see it on the screen at the top right here, you'll notice that. That's an important number for you to also remember. But basically, there's a few documents. We're going to go through step 1 through 5 before you submit your I-20 request. Step 2, we're going to need a color photo or scan of your passport ID page. So that's where your name and all of your date of birth information is with your picture. You're going to add that on here. The great thing about this portal that I really love is that if you haven't submitted everything, usually it will not let you move past because it's going to give you an error that says, hey, you didn't submit this yet. Right here in this question box right here, you'll see which of these statements describes your situation best. And there's 2 or 3 options for you. So one of them is, do you already have your F1 visa, or do you not have your F1 visa and are outside the US? So you're going to pick one that best fits your situation. So if you're out of the US currently, just pick that. But yeah, you're going to want to upload a color photo or scan of your passport ID page. Right when you go here, you will see that you are going to enter the personal and program information tab. It's very important that you verify that all of your information here looks correct. Once we have this information, we are going to be using this to give you your I-20. So we want to make sure that everything on here is correct. Usually if you did not let us know that there's an issue or there's an error somewhere and we issue your I-20, we usually do not reissue you another I-20. So just make sure to double check and confirm that everything here looks good. If you have dependents, just make sure you add them on here as well. A few things that you do want to remember is if you have or if you are in a pre-professional track, so if you're a pre-med student, if you're in pre-physical therapy, the major that's going to be listed, if you look at this little tab here, is going to be a little different on your I-20, but don't panic. Don't worry about it. So just know that that is what it might look like. If you're a pre-law, it might look different, a little different on your I-20, but it's important for you to know this so you don't freak out when you have your I-20 and you're like, that's not my major. But yes, just make sure that you take extra time to ensure that your name's spelled correctly. Sometimes you don't even notice it and there's an extra letter or something. That can happen. So just make sure everything here looks correct before you move on to the next step, which is step 4. this is where we require your bank documentation and a financial sponsor letter. Your bank documents must display your sponsor's name, and it must not be older than 6 months. So you need to have received your bank statements at least in the past 6 months. Anything older, we do not accept. So if you haven't gotten your bank statements yet, just make sure now is a good time if you're going to be submitting your I-20 request soon. But this is going to be very, very important. So read through all of this. Your sponsor letter, you are able to download right here. If you click on it, this is what's going to pull up. So you're going to ask your sponsor to date it, add their name, your name at this and on this tab, and basically fill out the rest of the information. And this is what you're going to upload to the KIC portal. So I am going to do that right here so that we can go through the steps one more time. So yeah, bank statements must display your sponsor's name as the financial account holder, must be clearly dated and less than 6 months old. So if it's a little bit, just make sure it's not older than 6 months. It must have a printed bank letterhead and display bank's full name and address. So these are very clear criteria that we do have, and we do check and make sure like nothing looks fraudulent or is not fraudulent. If you try to submit anything fraudulent, please know that we do notice it. So just make sure you're submitting not fraudulent documents, basically. Oh, I do see a couple more people. Hi, Saiful. Welcome in. If you missed out on anything, please let me know. But yes, the financial document is going to be very important. All right, moving on. Then you're going to get to step 5, and this is where you will see, because I didn't submit or add any documents here, it's obviously not going to give me a submit button. But once you go through the steps of doing that, it will pop up or populate a submit button, and that's what you're going to want to click. I just can't see it because I'm not submitting anything. So this is what the submitting an I-20 request process is going to look like. We're going to pivot a little bit into a visa prep session and what to expect during a visa prep session and kind of go from there. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen really quickly. If you haven't activated your student email or your MAV mail yet, I'm going to leave that link in the chat for you. It's a video that we created, or one of our students created, and it's a step-by-step process on how to activate your student email and log in. Again, like I said before, I know some of you guys came in late. If you are setting up your MAV mail, we highly, highly, highly encourage you to utilize the multi-factor authenticator app and not your personal phone. And the reason for that is once you're in the US, you likely will not have access to your old number from your home country. And so if you don't have that, you will not be able to get into your student email. And you just have to go to IT, and like there's an extra step with that. So if you're able to just use the authenticator app, don't use your personal phone number. Alrighty. With that, we can now pivot to a visa prep session. How are you guys doing today, though? It's a Monday for us, so I'm just waking up. I'm looking for my document that I want to show you. Okay, found it. If you haven't gotten, or like if you haven't had a chance to do your interview yet, if you want to let me know when your visa appointment is, or when you got your visa appointment for it, that'd be great as well. Mm, all right, found it. Let me know if my screen looks a little weird. I've been told it looks weird sometimes. So, mm, 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 mm. All right. So we are going to talk about the visa interview process and what that looks like. So this is actually our Centennial Student Union that you see in the picture. This is the main hub. So this is where students like to hang out. We have a lot of events here. We have a movie theater in here that we do movie nights at. So this is a central location on campus. This is also where we have our food court. So students like to grab lunch, hang out here, and stuff like that. Today, we are talking about how to pay your CVIS I-901 fee, schedule your visa interview, and then prepare for your visa interview. So I'm gonna quickly move through. So after you have your I-20, you are going to go ahead and pay the CVIS I-901 fee. It's a $350 payment that's valid for 12 months. So for example, if I hope you all already have your visa or you get your visa, but for some reason, if you don't get your visa and you're applying for a visa again in the like next year, because this is valid for 12 months, you don't have to pay it again. And the CVIS I-901 fee is basically you telling the US government that you intend to come to the US and you're coming to Minnesota State University Mankato, and that is what they use to track your, like, oh, your progress for undergraduate, graduation, and things like that. So you're going to want to pay this fee. The CVIS ID, again, if you remember, I said that that's going to be on your I-20. So make sure you reference your I-20 and make sure you enter the information exactly as it appears on your form I-20. So you want to make sure you're looking at it and typing in the numbers correctly, your name, your date of birth, just make sure everything looks correct. Once you've paid the $350 payment, you are going to want to download and save the receipt in a safe location. You are going to need it. So just make sure once you've paid it, save the receipt with you. Once you've paid that CVIS I-901 fee and everything's gone through, everything looks great, we are going to go ahead and start scheduling your visa interview. So you're going to want to search for a US embassy or consulate near you and complete the DS-160 form, which is an online non-immigrant visa application. We want to make sure that you're completing this one that you see on the screen right now. Just make sure it's the correct one. We also have the link listed for you right here if you wanted to like take a picture or something like that, or a screenshot, whatever is easiest for you, just so you get to the correct website. Once you are here, when you complete it, you're going to pay the $185 visa fee, but we can get to that in just a second here. There's a few things that you do want to remember about the DS-160 that I want to point out to you. A few things is, remember to set aside at least 90 minutes to complete the DS-160. The DS-160 can take a bit of time only because there's a lot of information you need to include, and there's a lot of information that you want to make sure you grab. And so, which is why it takes 90 minutes to complete. So you want to make sure you have good internet connection. You are in a location that's not noisy, that's quiet, so you can concentrate and make sure you don't have any errors or mistakes on the DS-160. It's very important that everything is written correctly in the DS-160. There's a lot of questions that they ask, so you want to make sure you're answering everything correctly and not saying yes to a question that you're supposed to say no to. So take your time with the DS-160. I like to autosave it every 10 minutes, just so sometimes it does like automatically lock you out and then you have to go back in again. So just make sure you're auto-saving it. I found that all usually helps. You are going to have to prepare a photo for the DS-160 before you begin filling out the application. So the specifications on what the photo looks like is available online. You can definitely look that up, but it's very similar to a passport photo that you would take. So just make sure you look at the specifications before you go and have that ready on hand with you. Here goes. So when you're filling out the DS-160, there's a section here. This is a question that we get a lot from our students when they're filling out the DS-160 because they don't know what to put. And so when you're filling out your DS-160, if you encounter this question where it says US point of contact information, this is exactly what you're going to put on it. We also have the DS-160 guide on the KIC portal we were at earlier that you can download as well and reference as you're filling out the DS-160. So if after we're done with this webinar, you're like, oh shoot, I don't remember what PJ said about this, you can go back into the KIC portal once you've gotten your I-20 and you'll see that you can download this sample, like a guide on how to fill out the DS-160. But basically, when you get to the US point of contact information, you are going to choose do not know. So don't put a name here. Organization name is Minnesota State University Mankato. Relationship to you is going to be school official. US street address, Centennial Student Union 250, and all of that information that you see. The other thing that I want to highlight for you is the social media portion of the question. So when you're filling out the DS-160, that is one of the section that you will see. Be sure to list all of your social media accounts truthfully on your DS-160 form. Embassies and consulates are using an automated system to locate your accounts and review your posts, and you do want to make sure that you set your accounts to public before you go into your interview. So just make sure to do that. Just make sure you're adding all of your social media accounts that you've used in the past 5 years, and also make sure that everything is set to public before you go to your interview and after until you receive your passport back. You've done the DS-160 and then it will prompt you to pay. You're going to go into a visa interview, and then for the embassy that you are going to, they're usually going to be a little section where it allows you to pay for your visa interview, and the visa interviews are going to be $185. So just make sure you have those funds at hand to pay that $185 to confirm your interview slot. Preparing for your visa interview. So now you have your visa interview. What next? You're going to start preparing for your visa interview. These are the list of documents that you are going to want to bring to your interview. So your I-20, again, printed and signed. Passport, obviously. Your CVIS I-901 receipt, if you remember the $300 payment that you made, that is going to go right here. You're going to print out that receipt and take it with you. And this is just for insurance, just in case they're like, hey, we don't see it on our system. Did you pay yet? You can say, yes, I did. Here's the receipt. There you go. Your visa application fee receipt. So once you pay this $185 fee, it will bring a receipt for you. Again, download it and save it. And then you're going to want to print it with you and take it to your interview. All right. Photo for your visa. So sometimes with your DS-160, it sometimes doesn't take your photo for your visa, like it'll ask for the photo and sometimes it will not take it. I haven't heard of it happening for a bit, but if it does, just make sure you take the photo with you to your interview. Admissions letter from MSU. If you're here right now, you already know where to access your admissions letter. So just make sure you download that and print that and take it with you as well. Bank statement from your sponsor. So all of the bank statements that you submitted to MSU, you can again take that with you. Academic transcripts. So if you have your high school transcripts and everything, you're going to want to take that with you just in case. And proof of English proficiency. So if you did TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, whatever you did, you do want to take that score with you as well. And any documentation of ties to your home country. This is usually a little confusing for students because they're like, I don't know what that means. If you have a family business that you're going back to, or anything that basically lets the consulate know that you are going to be returning to your home country after you're done with your degree. This is very important. So if you have something that can show those ties very clearly, bring those with you and you can show it to your consular, your interviewer. As you're preparing for your visa, these are some really important tools. Some of these are free. Well, everything listed on here. Argo Visa also does do like one-on-one visa, but that comes with a cost. The US State of Department also has a tips and suggestions list that you can look at. NAFSA's top 10 visa points to remember is a very important link that I highly encourage you to take a look at as well. It has very important information about like things to remember before you interview, things to bring up, things to highlight. And if you're still in a bind, we also do provide visa prep sessions at MSU. Again, none of this is a guarantee that you're going to get your visa. However, we do provide this because as a resource for you to utilize with our visa prep sessions, you are going to be kind of working with a current international student that goes to MSU that has gone through the visa process. And they just kind of tell you what worked for them. They'll give you tips and tricks. They'll ask you questions that you might get asked at the interview. And they'll give you feedback on your answers and things like that. So if you want to schedule a visa prep session, the link is right there for you. So you can kind of take a look at that. We do encourage you to make sure to show up for your visa prep session. So if you sign up for a session, please show up. We do have our students kind of take time out of their day to basically like be in these visa prep sessions to help you. So if you're setting up an appointment, please make sure you show up, just to be respectful of our students' time and also so that you can also get some feedback and advice on visa preps. Quickly navigating to our next, I guess, topic, but not really, but preparing for your visa interview ties to your home country. Please remember that your F1 visa that you are going to be going for is a non-immigrant visa, which means anything with non-immigrant basically implies that you are coming into the country for a specific amount of time for a specific purpose, and then you are returning to your home country after you're done, which is what your F1 visa is and which is what you're going to your interview for. So it is very important to demonstrate that you have a reason to return to your home country after you complete your program in the US. This is a very case-by-case basis. It's very like personal for a lot of students. So for you, it could be friends and family and friends. Career opportunities. Do you already have a job offer? Do you already have a job offer that you're going to get once you have your interview? Will you be able to, are you going back to a family business? Are you going to be going back and starting your own business? These are all really important points to bring up during the Mishak. Yes, if you have so Mishak asked, hello, do I need to have proof of English proficiency for my visa interview? We encourage you to print it out and take it with you just in case they ask you, you can show it. It's a document that we do encourage you to take with you. All right, so as I was saying, ties to your home country is a very, very important thing to bring up during your interviews. Again, it's very personal. Your reason to go back home could be very personal to you, but these are some things that we have noticed students mention, so family and friends, career opportunities to continue education back home. How do you demonstrate this? I think this is the area where a lot of students have difficulty because it's like, well, how do I tell them that I have a family business I'm coming back to? Visa officers will not ask you about your ties directly. Sometimes they might, but most of the time they don't. So everything that you answer should point to your intent to return. So this could be by giving concrete examples. So for example, it could be, yeah, you're coming here for like a nursing degree but you want to go back home and work at a hospital back home or at a certain location in your home country, to give back to the community, something like that. But whenever you answer, you need to have concrete examples that basically points to your intent to return. You need to identify your ties before the interview. Um, like sometimes it might feel really nerve-wracking and you might want to leave it to the last day and you're like, well, I'll just come up with an answer when I'm there. Please don't do that. Identify what your ties are before your interview. So show the US officer. So sit down and really think about it. Get a pen and paper and think about like, okay, here are some of my reasons why I want to come back to my country. And then whenever you're thinking about your answers, like how do you quickly place it into your answers? So I'm going to do this. So here are some of the questions that you might potentially get asked. Again, this is not a complete list. We don't know what else they might ask, but this is just like a basic list of questions that you might potentially get asked. So why do you want to study in the US and at this university? This is very important to think about. Why did you apply to Minnesota State Mankato? Was it a program that you saw here? Is it a research facility? Do you have friends and family here? Like, do you have friends that go to MSU and they told you to come here? Why do you want to study in the US and why at this university? I'm sure there's a reason that you applied to our university, right? Did someone recommend it to you? Think about this answer. What are your academic goals in the US? So, what's your major? What do you want to achieve with your major? What do you want out of your major? Did you apply to any other schools? Answer truthfully. If you did, yes, say yes. Who will be paying for your studies? This is where your sponsor is going to come in. Um, you don't have to give an entire like 30-second, 1 minute answer to that question. Who will be paying for your studies? It's your parents. Let's say it's your parents that's going to be paying. If they want clarifying questions, they will ask you. It's very important that your answers are concrete and to the point and not a just a like verbal tangent where you're just talking about like everything and anything under the sun. Make sure your answers are short, to the point, and clear. What are your plans after you finish school? This is a very pointed question. If they ask you this, they want to hear, what are you going to do after your degree? And this is where you're going to want to say, well, I'm coming home to do X, Y, and Z, right? It's a trick question. Ties to your home country. So what is your motivation to return after completing your attention? Really think about it. It's very important that you are able to convince the officer that your intention is to come to the US to study, get a degree, and that is all. Because guess your F1 visa is exactly that. It's a non-immigrant visa. Okay. The date of your interview, you will go through a security checkpoint upon arrival. You're going to leave all technology like your phone outside the embassy, and your interview will be in English. I always tell students not to bring too many stuff, just bring what you need to bring. Do you really need a laptop at the interview? No, so don't bring it with you. Do you need your iPad with you? Not really, so don't bring it with you. Just bring all these documents that we talked about. I always tell students to take them in like a folder. So take them in a folder, make sure that you mark everything so you know which one it is, which one is what. So add a sticky tab somewhere and it says I-20, like, stuff like that. So it's like organized and neat and it's easy for you to give it to the visa officer when they ask you these questions. This is very important. The picture that you see on the screen is usually what a visa interview looks like. It's at a stand-up visa window. Just have your documents organized, and the consular might ask you for one thing or the other. So they might ask you for your transcript. Just make sure you give it to them. This is why organizing them is important because you know exactly where everything is. Dress for success. When I say dress for success, I mean dress neat, dress clean, have your hair brushed, wash your face. Um, just don't wear anything that you wouldn't wear when you go see your grandma. Like, you're not gonna wear shredded jeans and stuff like that. Don't do that. Wear like something. You can wear jeans, but make sure they're like just neat and tidy. And eat a good meal beforehand. You could be at the interview area for quite a while. Sometimes it takes a lot of time when there's a lot of people. So just make sure you eat a good meal beforehand. There's usually no place to eat inside. Sometimes there's a water fountain. Um, but make sure you eat a good meal. A good meal is important because then you'll feel like ready for the day. And finally, relax. Visa interviews are typically only 2 to 3 minutes in length, sometimes even shorter, which is why it's important to remember to speak calm and be concise. If they ask you who's your sponsor, your answer should just be, oh, it's my dad. My dad's my sponsor. You don't have to give a whole speech about like, yeah, it's my dad. He has this, and this business, and he makes this much money, and this is why. None of that is necessary. What they ask is what you answer. And it's also because you want to keep that time in mind, right? It's 2 to 3 minutes in length, sometimes even shorter. So if you're giving like a 1 minute answer to a short question like that, they're not gonna have like, they're not gonna have time to ask you other questions. And that might actually work in at a disadvantage for you because you're not really able to make your case. What I always recommend students, so if you've been in any of my other pre-arrival webinars, is recording yourself on your phone and listening to it back. So if you want to look at like one of these questions, like why do you want to study the US? If you have someone that you can practice with, it's even better. When I had to go for my visa interview, I just used my phone because I was shy to ask my friends to help me with it. But if you have friends that can help you, like that's even better for family. I would record myself and listen back to myself. I noticed when I was doing this is I used to use a lot of like, it makes you sound less confident. So I had to go back in and be like, okay, I use a lot of filler words, or I'm saying the same thing in 5 different ways, but I'm actually trying to just say one thing. How can I make it shorter? So yeah, just make sure your answers are to the point, be confident, and just be calm and answer to the point, be honest. That's more important as well. Um, and once you've gotten through your visa interview, we're hopeful that you're going to get your visa so that you can be here for orientation. But remember to relax. Everything's going to be okay. Just practice as much as possible and be concise with the interviewer. Spring 2026 orientation dates. Attendance is mandatory. Orientation dates are Monday, January 5th through Friday, January 9th. You're going to want to arrive on or before January 4th, and the first day to enter the US is September 6th, 2025. We're very excited to meet you. We usually have a lot of fun orientation week. It's a busy week, but it's also a really great week to meet new friends. You are going to be coming during the colder season, so we're going to have a lot of other sessions coming up where we'll talk about like traveling to Mankato and things like that, and we're going to talk about like what to pack and everything. Some of our upcoming webinars, September 9th, we have an understanding tuition and fee. October 6th and October 21st, we're going to do like a couple more visa prep sessions. So if you think of any questions between now and then, feel free to come to any of these sessions and ask those questions. October 28th, we're going to have a placement testing session. More info is on your KIC portal, and also you were emailed the fall, like the spring 26 calendar. So just make sure you check your email. But if you're here, you already have it, but it's all also on the KIC portal. This is what the calendar looks like. If you haven't seen it yet, or if you haven't downloaded it yet, all of the links are hyperlinked. So if you click on it, you can just go and register. That's one thing I do want to remind you guys is you have to register for the webinars so that you get the reminders and that you're able to join on the day of. We also do host Instagram lives. So if you haven't, so our Instagram handle is KICMNSU. We post a lot of like content about student life, campus life, things happening on campus. We also do post a lot of pre-arrival content. So if you're someone that's coming in the springtime, that's going to be great. So you can definitely follow us on there. But we will be hosting a few Instagram lives. Those are more informal and less structured, and it's more of a conversation that we have. I really love doing Instagram lives just because it's not as structured. I can actually you guys can actually send me questions real time. And I'm not presenting a PowerPoint. It's more just me and like one of my students or my students talking to you guys. So definitely join us for our Instagram lives as well. With that, we are basically done with our visa prep session for the day. Did you guys have any other questions for me? If you do, please let me know. I'm going to quickly check YouTube as well to see if we have any questions on there. If you remember anything after the webinar, we also do have the webinars live streamed on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. I can send you our YouTube channel as well. So you can go back in and rewatch anything. Or if I said something right now and you're like, oh, I don't remember what PJ said, you can go in and take a look at the video again. So I'm gonna quickly share that right now and then, okay, I found it. All right, that's also going to be in the chat for you. That is not right. There we go. All right, yep. So you can go back in there and then yeah, we also do post a lot of content on YouTube, but if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can catch us on our lives as well. But with that, our next session is not until September 24th, no, September 29th. So until then, I hope you guys have a great, wonderful time. If you guys get your visa, please let us know. We would love to know and celebrate that with you. But we hope everything goes well, and we hope to see you guys here in the spring. Have a great rest of your day, evening, night, wherever you are, and I will see you guys next time. It's either going to be me and a couple and my GA and or some students, or it's going to be another full-time member, but I will likely